My gym tried to charge me $500 to cancel, so I found the one loophole they forgot to close. I signed up for Iron Elite Fitness during their New Year's promotion. $29 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. That's what the sales guy promised while I was still sweating from the free trial workout. 8 months later, I moved across town for a new job. The commute to that gym became impossible, so I walked in to cancel my membership. The front desk girl smiled and said I'd need to speak with the membership coordinator. Fine. I waited 40 minutes. When he finally appeared, he pulled up my account and said, "Unfortunately, your contract requires 60 days written notice plus a $500 early termination fee." I told him I was promised no commitment. He shrugged and said, "Verbal agreements aren't binding, only what I signed." I asked to see my contract. He printed it out, pointed to paragraph 14, subsection C, buried in 8-point font. There it was. I'd been scammed by fine print. I asked if there was any way to waive the fee since I was relocating. He said the only exceptions were military deployment, permanent disability, or death. I asked if he was serious. He said, "Policy is policy." I requested to speak with the manager. Same guy. He was the manager. He leaned back in his chair and explained that most people just pay the fee because fighting it costs more in time than money. The smugness was unreal. He even suggested I could keep the membership active and just not use it until the year was up, paying $29 a month for a gym an hour away. I left without canceling, furious but thinking. That night, I dug out my original paperwork and read every single word of that contract. Paragraph 14 was brutal, but paragraph 22 caught my attention. It stated that members could freeze their account for medical reasons with a doctor's note, and frozen accounts don't accumulate fees or extend contracts. The next morning, I called my doctor's office and explained I'd been having knee pain that made high-impact exercise difficult. Not a lie. My knees have clicked since college. The nurse scheduled me for that Thursday. My doctor examined me, confirmed minor patellofemoral syndrome, and wrote a note recommending I avoid strenuous gym activity for an indefinite period. I drove back to Iron Elite that afternoon. Same membership coordinator, same smug expression. I handed him the doctor's note and requested a medical freeze. His smile faltered. He said freezes were typically for 3 months maximum. I pointed to paragraph 22. It said medical freezes continue until the member provides clearance documentation from their physician. No time limit specified, no monthly cap mentioned. He called someone, then someone else, then told me he'd process the freeze and be in touch. But here's where it gets interesting. I never provided clearance documentation. Weeks passed, then months. My account stayed frozen. No charges, no fees, no emails asking me to return. I checked my bank statements religiously. Nothing from Iron Elite. After 11 months, I got a letter saying my original 12-month contract period had ended while my account was frozen, and per their policy, I could now cancel without penalty since the term was technically fulfilled. They'd written the loophole themselves. A medical freeze paused everything, including the contract countdown, but their system apparently couldn't distinguish between frozen time and active time when calculating fulfillment. I walked in one final time, handed them my cancellation request, and watched the same coordinator process it with a clenched jaw. He tried one last move, said I owed $29 for the month I signed up before freezing. I pulled out my original receipt showing I'd prepaid the first and last month during the promotion. He stared at it for a solid 10 seconds. Then he stamped my cancellation form and slid it across the counter without a word. I thanked him genuinely, no sarcasm, just pure satisfaction. On my way out, I noticed a bulletin board covered in printed negative reviews, like they were keeping score. Mine would be next. I left a detailed Google review explaining exactly how their medical freeze policy works, paragraph numbers included. Last I checked, it had 200 likes, and a reply from corporate apologizing for my experience and promising to review their contract language.